Columbia lane 1, Princeton lane 2, Georgetown lane 3. Countdown has begun. And they're off. All boats out clean. Princeton again. Going out hard and fast. Columbia's hanging with them. Georgetown falling back just a little bit. And they're out of the breakage zone of 100 meters. All boats clean. Princeton has jumped out to about a 2-seat lead over Columbia. Columbia about 6 seats up on Georgetown. Freshman boats that have just finished are on the side, giving a little bit of yell of encouragement. Princeton still, all the boats now as they're coming down onto pace. Princeton 3 seats up on Columbia, and Columbia coxswain coming on to bow ball of Georgetown. All boats now hitting their base rhythm. As with the previous race, Princeton just every stroke just moving just a little bit on Columbia, a little bit higher rate. Georgetown still holding on to about that 8 seats behind Columbia. Princeton just squeezing out to 6 seats now through 500 meters. Coxon just looked across from Princeton. Again, trying to get his team out to that full length. They can sit out there and evaluate and counter moves made by the other teams. Columbia not letting them get away that easy. Georgetown falling off the pace from Columbia. Princeton and Columbia just moving away as they're hitting the base speed in the middle of this race, the middle 1,000 here. Princeton now just trying to squeak out to open water. They just broke open water on Columbia. Georgetown about 3 seats on, Columbia about 3 seats open water on Georgetown. All boats starting to space out a little bit as they're hitting their base speed. Princeton now coming to 1,000 meters. Just a little bit of open water on Columbia. Columbia about half a length on Georgetown. Princeton just taking a move here as they crossed 1,000 meters. The rate just popped just a little bit. Popped up 1 or 2 beats, trying to really break the field. Columbia moving, just not letting them go though. They're still hanging on. From my angle, it just looks like Princeton is just about maybe a seat of open water over Columbia. Columbia now a full length over Georgetown. And with 750 meters to go, Princeton still about just a little bit of open water over Columbia. Columbia length of open water ahead of Georgetown. Princeton just took taking another little bit of a move. You see their rate just popping just a little bit. Trying to just get a little bit more, they're trying to get a little bit more open water on Columbia. Columbia's rate just moved up a little bit, trying to counter. And as the crews come to 500 meters to go, it's Princeton, open water, about 2 seats of open water ahead of Columbia. Columbia still a length over Georgetown. Columbia coming through 500 meters have upped the rate a little bit, trying to come back to cut the gap that Princeton made through that middle 1,000. But Princeton still holding on to the lead, maybe moving out just a little bit more as we're in this final 500 meters. You can probably hear the wind blowing in the phone line or on the microphone. It's not the nicest of days here in Princeton, New Jersey. And in the last 250 meters, Princeton, probably a half a length of open water now to Columbia. Columbia still about a length of open water to Georgetown. All boats winding it up for the last 25 or so strokes to the finish line. It's still Princeton, about a half a length of open water to Columbia. Columbia still about a length back to Georgetown. And through the line, it's Princeton. Then coming up about a half a length of open water behind Columbia, and then another length back to Georgetown.